So today we are back for another In the Sheds. I am so keen for this one. We've got a Titans player on. I've got my Titans shirt on. And it's just, the scenes are fantastic. We've done it, boys. We've done it. We've got the greatest team on the planet involved in the Sheds. Obviously, we've got Luke, Shirls, and Hayden, Entertain House. How you going, boys?
Another day.
Oh my gosh.
Another
day, another podcast. Every single damn well time you say it, Luke. Every single damn well time. There's not a single podcast.
Mate, you've turned into a little fanboy tonight, have you?
I'm always a fanboy of the Gold Coast Titans, mate. I'm loud and proud. You know, I think besides last year when I was in Chicago for the first half of the season, I've missed having lived in Melbourne, Gold Coast, and Fiji from 2009 until 2017, 18. I'd only missed 2 home games, so I'm always a bloody fanboy.
I'm going to compete with you here and let you know that I have been to every single 2019 Bankwest Parramatta.
Yeah, you live in Sydney, mate. You live in that area. I had to fly from Melbourne and Fiji. Gee whiz.
Yeah. I've seen the Sharks win one, so I can just go on about that forever. So
yeah, but to be fair, you also went 50 years without one. But then again, Parramatta's also getting pretty close. I think that's 36 years now, 35 years now. But anyway, guys, let's get into the discussion. We've got a great guest today, someone I'm incredibly excited for, as you guys know, as you guys can see. Today on the Sheds, we're going to be welcoming a cold hero to the show. Born on the beaches of Manly, our guest has called the Gold Coast home ever since he signed for the Gold Coast Titans back in 2013. Having played his entire career to date at the Titans, he's racked up 129 games to his name, 76 tries scored, and 304 points contributed to the team. In 2019, our guest overtook club legend David Mead as the highest try scorer in the Titans' history. He's been through it all with the club and continues to grind through the troubles. And I can tell you what, as a Titans fan, it's been a lot of troubles, and it's fantastic that he's still going. Is Don, is good. We've got Anthony Don, mate. Let's welcome him to the Sheds, boys. Welcome to the Sheds.
Yeah, the Don.
Cheers, boys. Yeah, thanks for having me. The pleasure's all mine to be on this podcast. It's been a lifelong ambition and
you know, fantastic that we can give you something to be happy about and be on the most amazing podcast that there is, mate.
I'm just lucky enough this week to.
They're all coming in.
Yeah, they're all coming in. We had Birdie on the other week, and you know it's out of control, mate. You know, people they're just flocking. You guys, you're just flocking. Like there's just a lineup and just like take a number, please. You know. Now, boys, obviously, I want to let's start talking. Let's start talking about the good stuff, which is obviously the footy that we haven't been privy to for a little bit now, because of the situation that we're in. Donnie, how you doing in this time?
Yeah, please get in line.
Yeah, I'm trying to be as positive as I can at the moment. I've got a young daughter who's only about 5.5 months, so it's a good opportunity to spend a little time with her and grow up and help my wife Samantha out a fair bit as well. Whereas if we were playing and going away every second weekend, it would have been a lot harder for both of us and especially her. But so I've been doing that and trying to surf as much as I can, trying to get in the water every day, and other than that, just doing as much training as I can get motivated for.
Yeah, look, we were speaking to Jesse Pry, the Australian Sevens, and he was basically saying like in this time he's been able to form a better connection with his partner and daughter. You know, like he's had so much time to be around his family. Do you find that that's the positive that you're taking out of this situation? That you're with your partner and your little one as well. That you're able to be through those times that you probably wouldn't have in this situation.
Yeah, definitely. Especially with the daughter. I mean, spending hours on every day together. So it's good seeing her grow up. But with the wife, it's we're getting on each other's.
Oh, we're gonna edit that one out, or?
No, I'm just joking. No, it's good spending time at home and helping her out. And
you know what's funny about that? I love how he's like, I'm just joking. Yeah, I'm just looking back and I'm just joking.
She's just sending some texts now. Just saying, whatever.
Keep it down in there.
Yeah.
It's been good to spend some time at home and do things like surf. You can't surf too much when you're playing footy week in, week out. So I've been spending time in the water and in some other interests. So yeah, it's been good.
Let's get into the footy aspect. Obviously, you're a part of the Gold Coast Titans, mate. You've been through quite a serious trip with our boys, and I can say that personally. How's it been for you playing for? Well, firstly, actually, I'll ask you, how's it been playing in the NRL?
Yeah, no, it's a dream come true. Other than being on this, but I was a late maturer, so I didn't really get to debut in the NRL until I was 25. So it was probably a dream that I lost when I was 17 or 18. I wasn't very good at footy, so I wasn't going to make it at that stage. So I'm very lucky that career I've had, even though it was late. I'm trying to cling on now for as long as I can, and stay with the Titans for the rest of this year at least, and then got to see what happens in the future.
You said that you're looking to stay for the rest of this year at least. Do you feel like you've still got a good couple of years left in you? You know, obviously you're 32. You know, you've still got a lot of players can keep going until 35, 36 maybe. Do you feel like you could potentially be in that bracket?
I just want to see how I play at the end of this year when the footy goes back on, but my body's in good shape. I don't have any injuries or anything at the moment, touch wood, and my mind still feels fresh. I feel young, so I mean I am old in age. 32 is probably pretty old, but honestly I don't feel old, and I love going to training every day, and I love playing footy for a living. So if I'm playing good enough and the Titans want to keep me on, then I'd love to stay. But footy's a tough industry. You can be in 1 minute and you can be out in your ass the next. So it's hard to predict, and especially this season too. We don't even know how many games we're going to get in, or we don't know what the salary cap's going to be for next season. So there's a ton of water to go on the bridge before anyone enters any negotiations. So it's an interesting couple of months coming up, and it's going to be strange, but look forward to it.
Do you feel like because you're a late bloomer that you do still feel fresh at 32 years old? Like if you have been playing since you're 18 or 19, do you feel like you might have been, not to say worn out, but you might not have had the same motivation to keep on going?
Yeah, I definitely think that is 100% correct, because it's probably just the little niggling injuries and the injuries you pick up along the career that kind of slowly build up, and then you might not be might not be as fast as you used to be or strong as you used to be or whatever. So I'm pretty fortunate I haven't had any major injuries. I've had shoulder reconstructions, but that's I don't do any tackling, so that doesn't really affect that. My knees, I've never had any knee, ankle or hip or any trouble, so I'm trying to keep my speed, and I think I've been doing that so far. So in terms of what you're saying, I reckon if I don't play for the Titans, so they don't want to sign me, which is a likely possibility, I'll probably still keep playing somewhere, if it's local footy or state league or something like that. So I don't feel like I'm going to retire next year either way, but you never know.
Well, that's the thing. It's a very like you said, it is a volatile industry. You never kind of know what's coming next, and you've always got to be playing every single game as if it potentially could be your last. And I absolutely love you at this club. Like I said at the beginning, you're a cult hero, and people really get behind you as an important figure of this team, because we've obviously been only a club since 2007. You've been there since 2013, although that's 6 years down the track. We're still a very fresh club on the scene, and I feel like you've definitely been a part of building the foundation of this club.
Yeah, I'm just a battler, and I think maybe the fans can connect because they're battlers as well. So I don't know, just doing my best on the wing and seeing how we go.
I want to ask, I guess, we always cop a lot of stick. The Titans cop a lot of stick, and whether it be before the situation, especially that potentially being removed. And I guess that comes from the fact that we are fresh meat, and I guess that does come from the fact that we are the new boys on the scene. But, do you feel content with where the club is at right now?
Yeah, most definitely. I think our new owners is the main focus.
Fantastic, yeah.
For us, the Frizzels and the Kelly families, they've bought in and they've secured the Titans and the long-term future of the Titans, and they're developing the community leagues club that they've got land, they've got DA approvals and all their liquor licensing and all that things they're working on at the moment. That's going to be approved, so that's going to secure the even longer-term future and the funding for the club. So, yeah, really happy with the Titans. There's always a lot of talk about what club's gonna fold or what club's gonna be moved. But
Too much, yeah.
yeah, I'm sure it's not. I'm sure it's not going to be the Titans.
With the Titans, obviously the first 2 rounds were not the result that you were intending. But do you think with the new coach, Justin Holbrook, you can feel this different kind of playing style and there's a lot of potential now? Or have you always felt that potential but just can't get the result on the field at those moments?
No, I definitely feel a new level of intensity and a new style of coaching with Justin. He's been unreal. We had a great preseason, and obviously in the first 2 rounds it didn't look like it, but we really did have it's probably the preseason that I've learnt the most throughout my career, and it's been they're probably the most enjoyable. It was still hard, like we still got flogged every day, but it was just always learning new skills and learning new plays and new structures. So, like I said, it didn't really work in the first couple of rounds, but I can assure everyone that he's the right person for the job.
Yeah, 100%. I want to quickly say on the first 2 rounds as well is that, although the results didn't favour the Titans, I felt like in that game against Parramatta, the first besides that first 5 minutes and the last 20 minutes, I actually thought we were the better team in that middle stage of the game. We just couldn't score. And then I was actually speaking to Donnie just before we came to this podcast, and we were talking basically when the Eels just had so many sets on the line, they just kept pumping and pumping and pumping, so we never really got a chance. Now, I think that Holbrook has really, he has got it into our team. We are looking a lot better, and I do think we are looking into the future with Holbrook. However, I just feel like that first 5 minutes and last 20 minutes really overshadowed a positive performance for the Titans. And also in the Raiders game, I thought that second half was also a positive for the Titans too. So I think that people are seeing those first 2 rounds and judging Holbrook based on that. And it's just like, firstly, this is his first time for like a fresh club, and secondly, it's only been 2 rounds, and thirdly, I thought there was actually a decent amount of positives in those 2 games.
We played okay in patches, but you can't play in patches and win consistent NRL games. So we had a pretty brutal video session, especially after the Parramatta game. Even though we did defend our line for a fair while, we still, once we got the ball, we just dropped it on play 1 or play 2, and then we just let Parra attack us again, and we ended up running out of steam, and the floodgates opened, which was extremely disappointing because we trained really well all pre-season. So we've kind of put it all behind us now. And
I just want to ask you a quick question about when players do drop the ball on play 1, play 2. What are you thinking? Like, are you thinking? Do you just go? That's like, because those moments honestly can just lose you the game. Like a drop ball, you turn over, they go in and score, and it's just so demoralising. Does anyone just look at each other and go, someone might go the hand up? Do you go, hey, is there something said in the sheds after that, or is there said something at half time, or what's the go? I've always wanted to know. Surely.
I think previously, in previous seasons, we've kind of just looked at it, like had a go at someone or sprayed someone or got real angry at each other. But one of Justin's main things this year is just whatever happens, like you can't dwell on a bad mistake, even if the person carrying the ball, they didn't mean to do it, they didn't do it on purpose, but they have dropped it. So we've got to get on with the next job, and if that's defending our line for the next 2 sets and forcing a line dropout and we defend again or anything like that, we just got to move on with it. And that's, as a team, we've got to look after each other. We can't hang one person out because they've dropped the ball. But I know what you're saying, and you do get frustrated when you've dropped it 4 times in a row, and then the next set you get the ball and someone drops it again, and it does frustrate the shit out of you. But one of the main focuses this year is just don't worry about it, defend up, and we'll get the ball back soon, and we won't do it again.
Yeah, what I thought was interesting, what you just said, was he didn't mean it on purpose. I think I've never actually heard someone say that before. Like, obviously your own teammate didn't want to lose the ball or throw it out or give away a drop goal for no reason.
There's kind of different one too. Like if a front rower is just taking a hit up and he just gets cut in half and gets hit straight under the ball and the ball pops out, then sometimes there's not much you can do. But if you're going for down the sideline and throwing a tricky offload back when there's surrounded by opposition players, well, that's one where you can probably go, what the fuck were you doing? Like, don't do that. But if someone's just, like most of the time, it's just a basic error that it's unintended. So there's no point just kicking them while they're down. But sometimes you do.
I want to draw comparisons between. I want to ask you what your honest opinion is of the previous coaching compared to Holbrook's style. What was your honest opinion of Garth Brennan, and do you feel like we're going in the right direction with Holbrook?
Yeah, 100%. We're going in the right direction, and Holbrook's had success everywhere he's been to. So he's a breath of fresh air, and he knows what he wants on the field. And if you don't do the job, you probably won't be in the team. So he's made that quite clear, and it would have been interesting to see what happened if we just kept playing who was picked or whatnot, because obviously we didn't play good. So I think we're definitely on the right track, and once he gets his grip on the squad and he can shape the squad the way he wants as well, I think you'll notice even more difference.
Anthony, I wanted to ask you something I think personally about the NRL, and I think it's a challenging question to think about, but we have a lot of players now like George Williams, like your Ryan Paul, coming from the Super League into that different environment. Why do you think it is that players come from the Super League to the NRL and they don't look at their pure best, the best form they can possibly be?
It's a good question. I think it's a completely different style of game, the NRL to the Super League. I've never played in the Super League, or I've never even watched the Super League game live, but I do follow it. I do watch a fair bit on Fox. But it's a tricky one. We've signed a couple of English players, not Callum, but Daniel Sargison before that, and what was his name? Joe Greenwood, second rower. They come out with, I think they were both England test players, and they didn't find their best form in Australia, and they were kind of sold straight back once the new coaching staff came in, and then they went back to England, and they really found their feet again over there. And this year, Joe's been really good in the Super League for Wigan or whoever he plays for, and Sarge is playing unreal again for a new team as well. So it's strange. I think the backs kind of struggle when they come out more than the forwards. I think the forwards are outstanding.
Yeah, we've
Like
had
Graham
Burgess and
Yeah, I
Adrian
think-
Morley and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
It might just come down to the quality, boys. It might just, like, obviously Super League is great, but I just think it might also come down to the upgraded quality. And I'm not saying that these players aren't great. I just feel like coming from the Super League, obviously, you are taking a huge step. You are playing for... I personally believe, I know the English will argue this, but I personally believe the NRL is easily and by far the top division, basically, worldwide. So they're coming from playing teams in a completely different environment and completely different style, and they're coming to the ultimate competition that is just on a completely another level. I feel like maybe that style of play they play in England just doesn't cut it at all in the NRL in comparison, and only the really special players, because like we saw, especially also with the Warriors and Sam Tompkins coming over, he was absolutely unreal in England, and then when he came to the NRL, it just didn't work out at all, and he went back to England, and you know, there he goes. So I feel like it might just be that upgraded quality that, you know, the English may not be able to adjust to, and only the really special players can do it.
Yeah, I definitely think the forwards that come over have played really good, especially the Canberra Raiders. I think all the forwards that, like Hodgson, I can't believe how good he is. He's an absolute freak, and
Bateman.
all the other Raiders forwards. But generally, like Hardacre came out. He was the man of steel from England. He came out and played a few games off the bench for Penrith and couldn't really get a run. And the big winger that you just said that signed at the Roosters, and Luke Burgess was at the Roosters, the other winger. They really struggled as well. And yeah, I don't know exactly what it is.
Donnie, do you believe that the club has removed itself from building the foundations now, and we're about to kind of distance ourselves from the foundation, the building blocks? Because obviously, you know, we are still a fresh club, 13 years, but it's past that point of saying we're the new club, and it's time to start obviously building the team's reputation and building the team itself, and removing that kind of fresh meat on the block kind of mentality. Do you feel like we're going into that direction now?
No, I don't really think about it like that. I just think that we need some success and we need to start winning, and it needs to happen in the next year or so, because for the majority of the time I've been there, we've had good years, but we've had a lot of low years as well, and a lot of controversy in those times. So if we start winning as a team, it could happen this year, it could happen next year, but the crowd's going to come back and everyone's going to jump on the bandwagon again. So.
Well,
That's the
2010, we
focus.
sold out
Just-
games every single week, mate. Every single week. 2010 was absolutely wild, and that shows that we do have the ability to sell out games when we are doing well.
Yeah, it's just all about success, and people don't want to go and watch the team that's at the bottom of the ladder, but everyone will fight, jump over each other to watch a team that's flying. So yeah, we know that it's a success sport, and if we're not winning, then our following will diminish.
You've been at the club since 2013, and obviously you've been through it all. Like you just said, you just said that there's been a lot of highs. There's also been a lot of lows. Have you overall enjoyed your experience through the times? Have you overall enjoyed, despite the losses, despite the difficulties, enjoyed your time at the Titans?
Yeah, shit, yeah, I've loved it. I love every minute of going to training, and I'm not just pulling your leg and saying it. I love going to training and hanging out with all my mates and getting paid to stay fit and be healthy, and then play footy on the weekends. It's like pre-seasons are hard, and losing sometimes gets hard, but I don't. I try not to get too affected by it, and I just try and stay positive and remember every day that I'm doing what I wanted to be when I was a kid. I get to play footy for a living, and I love it 100%.
I just wanted to ask about your prolonged debut. Do you know the reason why you might have been such a late bloomer? Was it skills-wise? Was it physical-wise? Was it just opportunity from a coach? What do you feel like because 25 is relatively old for any professional athlete to debut, but especially in NRL, it's so physical. Do you feel like Cody Walker's another person? I think he was 26 when he debuted. So there are some really good players that do have a late bloomer like mentality, or they're given the opportunity later in their life. What do you think contributed mainly towards being a late bloomer?
Yeah, mine was mainly physical. I was probably late through puberty. I was only when I was 15 or when I was in under 16s for Grafton, my local team Grafton goes. I was coming off the bench playing hooker. I was short as I was probably one of the shortest in the team, and might only get 15 minutes on the field. So I was on the bench for the Grafton Go. So my chances of playing NRL was probably 1,000,000 to 1 really. But then I matured later than most people that age, and then I was kind of, by the time I was 17 or 18, I was kind of one of the better guys in my local team at Grafton. But then if you're not, at the time, I think it was the second year of 20s or first year of 20s, I wasn't good enough to play 20s. I was still skinny and tall. So, and you think about all the other players that I'd be up against, they've been in rep teams since 15 and benching 180 kilos, and I'd never been in a gym before. But so my body wasn't ready. I was slow. I wasn't ready to play that level, and then I went to uni and studied, and then after that I kind of got a bit better slowly, and then just slowly kept improving until I was at Burleigh Bears in the Q Cup, then from there to the Titans.
When you were growing up and when you were in those youth days, were you originally if you ideally played for who was your team growing up? Who did you support? Were you Manly or?
No, I've got my grandfather coached Manly to a few premierships, but I didn't support them. I played. I supported St George Dragons for I don't know, for no reason really, but yeah, I love Trent Barrett and all those guys. But yeah, I don't feel a thing for them anymore. It's kind of strange. Like I wouldn't care if they got who they play anymore.
Yeah.
I'm just completely
Titans
lost
through
that
and through
interest,
now.
but, yeah, obviously. So if I did have to play, I'd probably feel more connection to Manly there, just because I've got a bit of family history there.
Yeah, no.
I want to speak about 2 years that I personally think the Titans stood out. Obviously, 2010, you weren't a part of, so I won't touch on that one, even though it was fantastic finishing in the top 4 and a side captained by Scott Prince. I'm sure Blazers living in the glory days, having dreams about that being next year. But no,
This year.
2013, your debut, you lost. You beat the mighty Parramatta Eels.
Get it off. It's just
Is that the
buddy.
fishing cup, mate?
Jeez.
28 points to 22, Donny. Whereas we finished 16th, you guys finished 9th. Now, you were outside the 8, but do you consider that as a successful debut year? You had a massive year. You had some really good players in the team too, players that are quality today. You had Jerome Hughes, who now plays for the Storm. You had Heimel Hunt from the Rabbitoh, and being your debut year must make it special as well.
Yeah, it was just a long time to think back and think how we went back then, but yeah, it was a great year. I remember Jerome debuting up in Darwin and Heimel, I think maybe at the same time as well. So they were only 18, I think, each when they debuted for the club. And Jerome went through probably 4 or 5 years of really traumatic back injuries since after that. So that's why we didn't see him for a long time. But yeah, it was it was a whirlwind coming into first grade. I think I got dropped after about 10 games, and then had a few games back for Burleigh, and then got back in first grade for the last 4 or 5 and started to find some form again. So yeah, it was an unreal time of the year, and I think I love playing with Greg Bird, Nate Miles, Dave Taylor, Luke Douglas. They were all there, Bo Falloon, maybe not Bo, but there was a ton of stack of good players there at the time, and Mark Minicello, Luke Bailey.
Mate, this is unreal when you're saying
Jason.
these names. Like, this is taking me back, man. Like, this is taking me back to some names that we had that were just incredible.
So yeah, it was a great opportunity to play footy. Ash Harrow, he was there. It was a great playing with all those legends of the game and legends of the Titans, and it's great to.
Was Zilly still there at the time? Was Zilly still there?
Yeah, Zilly was there. He was there for ages when I was there.
Whilst we're speaking about that year, I want to compare it to the other year I think of, which is 2016. It's good you've mentioned some former players that you've played with. Now, Greg Bird played his 200th NRL match. Dave Mead scored his 50th NRL try. And a big moment was the draw against the Cronulla Sharks, which showed just how gritty the Titans were at that time. You being a part of the team and finishing and playing finals, obviously it didn't go the way you wanted it. Do you think that was the Titans' most successful year in your playing career?
Yeah, most definitely. That was the best that the team had ever played since I've been there. That was a really good year. I think we developed a good culture at the time, and we had people thought that we fought hard for everything, and we were always in the contest. We never got beat by much. It was always coming down to the last 5 or 10 minutes, and we're always scrapping hard. I think that's the year that Jarryd Hayne signed off the top of my head. So he came through the back end, and he had another whole level of scrutiny and intensity to everything. That was when he was at his absolute peak too, just coming back from the NFL. So it was a good year. It was a crazy year with Hainesy dropping back and getting to know him as well. So it was good times.
I do want to briefly ask you about that. Obviously, there's absolutely. I don't want to create any kind of negativity here, but like, what in 2016, do you feel like that whole media thing with Hayne did potentially affect our growth? Obviously, nothing to do with Hayne, or was there something to do with Hayne? I don't know. Like, what's your thoughts on the whole Hayne situation at the time?
Yeah, it was insane, really, because I was just an NRL fan. I didn't really watch NFL. I'm not interested in it too much, but I was following his story in the NFL. I mean, everyone in Australia, every sports lover was, and I just couldn't believe how good he was going in America, and he was making it in the trials, and he was scoring touchdowns, and he was doing catches, and it seemed like he was getting better and better. I was hooked on his story over there, and then when he decided to come home and he come back to the Titans, it was like, holy shit, he's coming here! Like, this is crazy. I'm gonna meet him and get to know him. So it was, but when he got here, it was just insane the level of media attention we're getting. Like, say we'd go to a game in Sydney somewhere, we're getting off the bus and had a 100-meter walk to the ground. There'd be just a lineup of fans, like literally 4 or 5 deep, 100 meters, and if you didn't get off before him, you were stuck behind him, and it was just in a massive scrum, just with all the fans just trying to get his attention and his autograph and whatnot. And then the media just stepped up a whole new level at every training session and every game. Everything was about, not saying it was a bad thing, but he was a really good bloke, Jarryd. Like, he does get a bad rap about being selfish and everything, but as a person, he got to know everyone in the squad. He didn't care if you were the lowest paid or the highest paid, or you played for Burleigh or Tweed or whatever. He'd get to know everyone. He was funny to be around, and probably struggled with a few injuries in the second year that he was there, but it was a crazy experience to to know him and see him and train with him. He had the best skill I'd ever seen too. Like he's as a fullback coming around the back, the sweep line, and he would catch it. He can throw cut out to the winger on a step. He can dummy and fend off and beat the defender to his speed, or he can play short. Like he was just the best at that I've ever seen. So it was good to watch.
Yeah, that would have been awesome to be a part of, man. Like, it was just obviously such a different time for the club. It was such an exciting time for the club, and obviously that season, it didn't ultimately end up where we wanted it to, but it was a very positive season for us, and I'm going to straight up say it. I don't know if you're going to say it, but I'm going to straight up say that we got robbed against Brisbane. So, but do you believe that the impact of such a major media personality, we were obviously starting to look really good with Ash Taylor and Tyrone Roberts at the time, and they were doing some really good stuff, and just our team looked like it was really ready to go, and we're making some real progress. And then I feel like just the media speculation, the media involvement might have kind of caused a little bit of. What was from a player's perspective? Like, did it affect you guys negatively, or did you guys just keep going on like business?
Oh, that year it was fine because we were playing good footy and we were competing hard and we were in the finals, So, I mean, when everything's going well, the media it's not too much of an issue, because everyone's happy. There's no pressure. But as soon as things start going in the wrong direction, that's when it kind of builds pressure and adds up and starts weighing in on everyone, and it gets people. You probably hear some comments about each other, and towards the back end of Hayne's time at the club, there was a lot of comments that was getting thrown around in the media from everyone. Everyone was an expert, and coaching staff were probably leaking stuff to the media, and Jarryd was talking to the media about the coaching staff. So when we got to that situation, it was a bit of this is
Getting a bit
working
hectic,
how it's planned, yeah. So and then the wheels started falling off that year, and there was a bit of a split between Hayne and a few of the coaches. So kind of got everyone on defensive, and it wasn't a good ending.
Yeah, but like I said, we can still definitely take a positive out of that season, and we can definitely still take out the fact that we were in the finals in 2016. And like we spoke about as well, when we got that draw, 16-16 draw with the Cronulla Sharks, I just want to remind you about that one, Luke. But yeah, so to stop them from their continued... To stop them from their continued winning streak. We're not talking about the Sharkies. But look, Donnie, I want to ask you as well...
I think we beat the Sharks that year at Cronulla.
Yes.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
And
We have a good record against the Sharkies.
And then they went 16 rounds. Then we drew with them in the Golden Point.
Bit of a bogey team. Titans. We've said that before. Sharks and Titans.
Back in the day, especially.
Yeah, Sharks seem to get the best of the Storm. Even if they don't win, it's a very hard game. But against the Titans, I don't know what it is, eh?
Yeah, it's strange, all those little nuisance, like those little things in the NRL.
What's your favourite moment? We've been speaking about, how positive 2016 was for the club and the success that we found in that year. What's your favourite moment since 2013 in general moment that you've been a part of?
Probably the one that comes to mind straight away is when we beat Melbourne in it was a doubleheader at Suncorp.
Yeah.
Smith, Slater, and Cronk, they were doing us inside and out the first half. I think they're up 22-8, and then we jagged a late try to make it 22-14 at half time, and then I think we scored 2 or 3 late tries to win the game with about 30 seconds to go. So.
I remember that game now. Yeah, we scored. Was Connie playing in that game, and he scored the winner?
Yeah, Connie scored the winner. LG kicked it over, and I tapped it back to Connie, and Connie got the winner to win the game. That's probably the best. That's the one that springs to mind.
Yeah, no, I just remember that was one of the most. That was unreal. I remember I was at that game. You guys know I'm always at the games, but I was at that game, and we just went absolutely nuts in the corner. And being in Suncorp, but I know it wasn't against the Broncos themselves, but being in Suncorp and being able to celebrate like that, it was unreal. And
the crowd was big too, because it was late in the second game was about to start, and all the Broncos fans were in there, and I think most of them were actually. Yeah, the Broncos Manly. Most of them were supporting us, so it was good.
44,000 in attendance at Suncorp.
That's good. So that's a solid crowd.
Right, yeah.
That was obviously your favourite moment. Do you have a favourite try that you scored?
Oh, the debut one was good. I was named on the bench, and obviously a lot of my friends like a punt. And so I think I opened up about $17 for first try scorer. So I think I kind of knew I was going to start, but I didn't exactly tell anyone. But a lot of them got on me for first try scorer. So that was a good moment, but never seen any of the money or even a beer out of it.
Oh, that's rough. Oh, gee whiz. Come on, boys.
I think
It's a stitch
I think
up.
the same season might have been the first season we were playing the Roosters, and I got a Takarangi gave me a little flick pass, and I made a break, and Anthony Minicello was trying to come across in tackle and in defence, and I ran past him. So that's another one that springs early in the career.
I'm going to tell you which one my favourite is, and I think you surely would remember it. It was back in, I believe, maybe 2014 or 15 against the Tigers, and it was actually the game winner. I think it was about the 70th minute or something like that. And it was James Roberts, I believe. He gave you the ball on the outside, and then you just came in and see you later and won the game.
Yeah.
That was a cracker.
Yeah, well, actually, I think we were up 20-0 that game, and then I was catching a kickoff, and you know when you try and put your foot out of touch and catch the ball, so you get the penalty at halfway. I caught the ball, then put my foot out.
Oh no!
It was a line drop out, and then we went from 20-0 to about, I think it was, we might have been up 14 or 16-0, and then so they scored about 3 tries in a row, and I was just going, oh, far out! I've just cost us. I've just changed the momentum so much. And then, as you said though, later on in the game, I made James set me up, made a break, beat a couple of people, and then as I went to put the ball down, I kind of placed it on my leg because I used to hate diving for tries. I don't know why. I placed it on my leg and I juggled it, and then I managed to get it and then put it back down. So if you ever seen the replay, you'd see there's a little juggle in there, and I'm shitting myself going, I've wrecked it again. No, it was lucky to get away with that.
To score a match winner at Leichhardt, it's next level, mate. You must feel proud. 27 points to 20. If you didn't score that try, who knows what would have happened in that game. I remember in 2015 when you first played the Tigers, I think it was 5 rounds before that, round 8. The Tigers got the better of the Titans 19-18. So it was always close games with them. And as Blaze said, a great try, a phenomenal game. But at Leichhardt especially is massive.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good ground to play at, and the fans right on top of you, and they don't mind giving you a good spray too. I think one of Haynes' other games, we beat Tigers at it wasn't Leichhardt, it was the other one out west.
Yeah, it was.
We beat them 19-18.
Campbelltown, wasn't it? And he was like, "This is our house or something."
Yeah,
My house. That's it.
That was pretty funny, and that was a good moment as well.
Yeah, no, that was unreal, and I've got a few Tigers fans who I still to this day keep reminding about that. But yeah, no, that was a phenomenal game, and you know you've scored an unbelievable amount of tries. You know, like we said, you're the current club's highest try scorer, and like we've also said, you've only been there since you were 25. So if you had had those extra years, like you have had limited years, and yet you are the highest try scorer, that must feel pretty special.
Yeah, look, I don't really think about it too much. I mean, I give David me a bit of a little text message every now and then. But other than that, no, it's a good achievement. But I'm pretty sure Phil, Sammy, or AJ or someone will take the title off me. But I'm more than happy to pass it on when that time comes.
Yeah, a bit of passing the torch action. But obviously it's all for the best of the club, and it's good for you to say that. You know, not only because it's they're your mates and stuff like that, but it's because obviously you do care about this club and you do care about the actual growth of the Titans. So it's really good that although it is a career, it is your business, this is how you earn your paycheck, you actually genuinely do care about the growth of this team.
Yeah, it's my only NRL team, and I'm not going to go to any other NRL team now. So I love the club, I love the Gold Coast as a place, and I'm going to stay here when I finish footy and always be a Titans member or a fan. So, yeah, it's awesome. I love it.
In the front line, mate, in the Legion. Well, everything's the Legion now. I don't know if you saw the thing, but I think we're called the front line now. So you better be there, especially when you're done.
Hopefully we get the crowds back this year so we can all get out there.
Banging on your drum, Blaze.
Yeah, Donny's going to be the next bloody man on the drum. When I retire, you know, I'll retire soon, so I have to travel for my vlogs, but Donny's going to be the next person on the drums.
Get Kevin Gordon out there. He's a musician these days, so
He once was. He came out. He comes out occasionally. I haven't spoken to Kevin in a while actually, but yeah, no, he's come down there in his. I think he dressed. I can't remember what he dressed up in. He's a character, old Kev. He's definitely a good old character.
Strange. He was on the Matty Jones show on Monday night, or earlier in the week, and he's a weird cat.
he does rapping and stuff now too, doesn't he?
No, have a look at YouTube and his Instagram, and you'll see how he's killing it.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, no, that's funny as. Now, look, I want to ask you as well. Obviously, we've spoken about the positives in the club, and we've spoken about the positives and what your favourite parts are. What has been personally the toughest moment for you as a player to overcome in your years at the club? Has there been a moment where you've had to face that you thought maybe I might not be able to come back from, but you have come back from it?
Oh, not really. I've had a pretty lucky career. I've had a few shoulder injuries and a few shoulder reconstructions. One of them was bad. I had pancreatitis, which is inflamed pancreas, and you can't eat or drink for a couple of weeks.
Jeez.
I lost probably 6 or 7 kilos, and just as I was coming back from that, slowly eating like spoonfuls of food for lunch or whatever, I went and had a game of tennis with one of my mates, and I was serving. I think I was 5-3 up, serving for the match. I tried to do an ace down the tee, dislocated my shoulder.
Oh.
So then that wasn't ideal. Then had to go and get surgery kind of halfway through the off season. And then when I was just coming back to training, it got infected. So it was had to go back in for more surgery and had to have a drip around my arm for like 6 weeks putting in antibiotics. So I couldn't. One shoulder was fucked because it had the reconstruction. The other one had a drip, so I couldn't do any weights with any arms. And I was luckily got ready for round 1. I didn't play any trials or anything, and probably was like I wasn't feeling good. I didn't have a good season, and it was probably the hardest part. It wasn't like my world was ending or anything. I'd try and remain pretty positive the whole time, and if I get dropped, it's happened throughout my career. I don't get affected too bad. I don't let my head drop. I just try and stay positive and play good footy and try and enjoy what I do. So look, I've had a lucky career. I really haven't had too many lowlights.
Yeah, it's good to see that. It's good to see that you did remain positive at the time, and like you said, you just keep battling on. You're a battler. Yeah, that's why you're the cold hero of the Titans. You're a battler, and despite the difficulty you face, like you still kept going, and you didn't look backwards, and you're still cracking on to this day. So that's the main thing, man. Like, as long as you can, and that's a good thing that I want the viewers to take out of this as well, is that despite the fact that at that time, it would have absolutely sucked in so many aspects, you still remained positive, and you just kept doing what you needed to do in the time frame that you were given.
Yeah, I always try and think of the positives and enjoy every day, going to training and working hard and just loving life.
I want to now move into kind of what your thoughts are about your post career. So what you're planning to do after you finish up. Do you have many plans for yourself?
Not really. I was a PE teacher before I played footy or played NRL, so I can go back to teaching, or I've just finished my masters in business, so hopefully I might be able to work in a job maybe at the Titans or some other sporting organisation. I'd love to do something like that, but at the moment it's pretty unclear what I'll do. But I'm not too concerned about it. Hopefully I'll be able to be employed. My wife's a teacher too at Palm Beach Currumbin High, which is a good footy school. So got a few connections there. So hopefully I could get a job there, or try and get a job at the club or anywhere on the coast.
Do you think that maybe you could be someone who influences the players, especially the backs and especially the wingers, bringing them through after? Like, is that something that you're genuinely interested in, or are you looking more at like a kind of health and conditioning kind of?
No, I wouldn't be into the health or into the performance stuff. I would love to do something with the main squad or the junior squad or with anything, or with the sponsorship team. But like we were talking about way back at the start of the podcast, like football's not going to be the same next year. It's not going to be a place where there's going to be hundreds of jobs that are going to come available. It's going to be tightened, if anything. So there's going to be people that lose their jobs. So it's going to be a tough time to break into that industry. But I'm quite lucky that got a PE teaching degree as well, so there's always going to be schools and jobs with teachers. So I don't really know what I'm going to be doing, but I haven't really spent a great deal of time thinking about it. I'm not overly fussed at the current time, but once the Titans say, "Nah, mate, you're not here next year," I'll probably have to start thinking about it a bit more seriously. But for the time being, I'm just cruising along.
Do you think that you'll keep going on for Burleigh even afterwards? Burleigh specifically?
If the Titans said this year that I wasn't going to play with them and my body was feeling good, yeah, I'd probably want to play for Burleigh or maybe captain coach a local team or a country Northern New South Wales team or something like that. But it's all guesswork at the moment, and I don't really know. So
Yeah, of course.
I only live just down the road from Burleigh, so it's somewhere that
It's actually a little bit of a transition point, I think, and I want to ask you: what type of young players are you seeing coming through the game at the moment? Obviously, you play with Burleigh and you play in the Queensland Cup from time to time, so you would see these players coming through. Whether it's in the NRL or the Titans specifically, what type of players are you seeing coming through the ranks that could be, some people that we should be looking out for?
I think Toby Sexton is a good little halfback. He's got a really good work ethic, and he trains his ass off it every day at training. He's a really good kid, so he's going to learn a lot in the next few years off our halves, and I can see him having a long career. And I think he's one of those kids that's probably not blessed with all the talent in the world, but he's going to work on his craft as hard as he can. I'm sure he's going to make it in the long run. He's a really good kid, so I can see him being there. And young Preston Campbell, JC.
Yeah.
Preston's young fella. He's a freakish talent. His footwork, his ball playing, he's lightning quick too. So he's really small at the moment. He's only probably about 70 kilos, so he probably needs to put on a lot of weight to have a long NRL career, but he's got time on his side. He's only 18 or 19. But he's showing some really good signs as well.
Yeah, and also he's obviously got the backing from a very successful past as well.
Yeah, well, Preston. How many people would have told Preston he was too small to play in the NRL?
That's exactly right. Yeah,
I'm sure JC's going to cop the same treatment as well from a lot of people, but I mean, it's up to him to prove them wrong.
Prove the haters wrong. Everyone has the faults that get put out in the media. Everyone from the fans in the stadium who think or the fans at home that think they're the best buddy coach in the history of ever, but really they've done jack shit besides sitting on the couch eating fries and drinking beer the whole time and saying, this is the faults of that player and he's never going to make it. And that's the point. Like it's really good seeing those players who do get criticised for being too small, whether it be rugby league or any sport, being criticised for being of a certain size, actually making it and becoming successful.
Yeah, for sure. You got JC Campbell on one end of the spectrum. We got Shannon Boyd on the other.
Yeah,
he's bloody too big, and we're trying to get him. If you're too small, and obviously you've got some other attributes that are better than everyone else. Obviously, his footwork, skill, passing, like his old man Presto. So, look forward to seeing his development for sure.
I might spit a couple out at you. First for the Titans and then in the NRL that I see becoming good young players. For the Titans, the two that I think of, a player that I absolutely love, still developing but looks really good and can play in fullback or six, and I want to know what your position for him is. It's AJ Brimson. AJ Brimson is someone who's really
fantastic,
Yeah, fantastic. The other one for me that comes out for the Titans is, I really struggle with the first name, but I'm going to say Moeaki Fotuaika. Fotuaika is a really strong forward for the Titans, and I think he can really earn a good spot with the club over the next couple of years.
Yeah, Moe's a freak. He's got one of the hardest trainers in the club by far. He missed most of the preseason because he had a knee and wrist surgery at the end of the year after his unreal debut season. The second season, but he's going to be a long-term front row at the club. And AJ, I personally think he's a fullback. I think he's just electric. His running game's probably his strong point. He can pass as well, but I think his best attributes definitely is his running game and his speed. So I I think he's going to develop into a really good fullback in the next 12 to 18 months. And we've got Michael Gordon at the club teaching him as much as he can at the moment, so he's got a good arch.
You've got to love someone like Michael Gordon in the ranks showing you how to do your profession. Like he's obviously he's been a staple for the Sharks, Panthers, and the Titans. You know, he's just a fantastic player wherever you go, and to be able to teach AJ his skill set is a really good thing for Brimson's future.
Yeah, he's a long time vet, so he's quite a deep thinker too, Michael Gordon, of the fullback role, and he knows he'll plan. When he was playing with us, he would plan the numbers on each side of the field depending on where their halves are going to sit, and often the fullback stands in the defensive line, and he always knows what side he wants to be, and so he can push someone across the long side to cover their long shift or anything like that. So he's quite professional in the way he does it, and he's passing that on to AJ at the moment, and Phil Sammy obviously has been there for the first couple of rounds.
Whilst we're speaking about Preston Campbell, I want to touch on another player whose dad was a very good player, experience, and he really looks like he's an up-and-coming player. Tristan Saylor from the Dragon. Obviously, Wendell had that big career, and Tristan is an up-and-coming player who I think, again, could really shine in that role. And as you say, having that lineage and that connection, even being told you're too small, you can have a really good career out of that. It can motivate you.
Yeah, I haven't seen too much of Tristan play. I've seen a few highlights, and I think I saw him do squat something stupid in the gym one day. But yeah, he looks like he's a real good player, and there's a lot of young kids at the Dragons that are doing good things.
Just finally, we've obviously been going for about an hour now, so we'll start to wrap it up. But mate, obviously, massive thanks for coming on. But I want to ask you as well, how long, in your opinion, and obviously, you know, you want to say this year or you want to say next year, how long, in your opinion, do you believe before the Gold Coast Titans win their first premiership?
Obviously, we want to see one in the next few years while I'm still playing, hopefully. But look, if we get one, we need to start making the finals consistently first, and then we've got to start making the semi-finals, and then we've got to start playing grand finals. So hopefully within the next 5 years we can get one, and I'm sure that once Justin can start building his squad that he wants, hopefully we need to consistently be the top 4 team, and that's going to give us the best chance of winning the comp. Yeah,
100%, especially with such a young team as well. You know, like we were just speaking about with Sammy and Brimo coming through, with Ash is still there, and you know, I feel like the backs and with Mo as well. We've got a really young team that are building to the future, and with obviously the vets in the team that are really helping them along. It's really good to see that. I feel like there is definitely a positive future, and I know that a lot of other not players, sorry. I know that a lot of other fans don't see it because they just look at the Titans and they just think, you know what, you know, get lost basically. But when you actually look at the club, you know, there is so much talent that is waiting to be unearthed, and I just feel like it just, you know, with Holbrook as a new coach, and it's just looking positive for the future. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how you guys go in the near future. But like I said, mate, really appreciate you coming on. Great chat. Thanks for telling us about obviously your career and the Gold Coast Titans as well, and giving us an insight into, you know, a player's perspective, because it's all good, well and good us being fans and watching on, and obviously I love my boys, and these boys, you know, they watch on, they see how it is, but it's great getting a player's perspective from within the club to understand, you know, what's going on from you with the actual guys who are taking the field.
Well, like I said, everyone's been talking about the pod. It's been a pleasure. Anytime, so hit me up on Skype. A few difficulties signing in earlier, but we're flying now.
Well, not many people even really I think everyone's been bloody using Zoom or something. Like, I haven't used Skype before this podcast. I don't think I've used Skype in ever, nearly ever.
Yeah.
So
He's been using Omegle, but.
Oh, yeah, Omegle, gee whiz. Is that the first thing you think of, Luke? Honestly, first.
Chat roulette.
Oh, chat roulette, gee whiz. Now we're getting somewhere. Okay, it's getting too late at night now. So let's wrap this up for you. Obviously, massive thanks to Luke and Hayden for jumping on. And obviously, thank you guys for watching. If you did like this, please give me a thumbs up so that we know you're enjoying this content. If you're not subscribed yet, obviously go and subscribe to both Luke and to Hayden. And obviously, Donnie, go and follow him on his socials.
Nah, mate, just the pod. Up the pod.
Up the pod. I love it. Now, he's a massive advocate for In the Shed, so it's been awesome. But like I said, guys, that'll do us today. Thanks for watching. Catch you later.